February 1987, early morning. The phone call came at 6:47 a.m. Dieter's mother, voice shaking. He's gone, your father, heart attack, sometime in the night. He didn't wake up. The doctors said it was instant, no pain, but he's gone. Dieter sat on the edge of his bed, phone to his ear, processing. His father, gone, instant, no warning, no goodbye, just gone. He was 58, not old, not young, just 58. Alive yesterday, dead today. The mathematics didn't compute. Dieter, are you there? I'm here. The funeral will be Saturday, 3 days. Can you come? Of course. And will you say something at the service? Pause, long pause. I don't know, maybe. I'll think about it. Your father would want, I'll think about it, Mama. He hung up, sat, stared at nothing. His father was dead, the man who'd raised him, who'd supported his music career despite not understanding it, who'd come to a few shows, sat in the back, proud but confused, gone. Dieter stood, walked to his studio. Home studio, small room, keyboards, mixing board, headphones, the space where he spent most of his time, more than the bedroom, more than anywhere else. He sat at the keyboard. Turned it on, played, random notes, no melody, no structure, just sound, just something to fill the silence that felt too heavy. He played for an hour, no music, just noise, just movement, just distraction from the feeling he couldn't name. At 9 a.m. he called the manager. My father died, heart attack, last night. Oh God. Dieter, I'm so sorry. What do you need? Cancel sessions, cancel everything. No, don't cancel. I want to work. Are you sure? You should take time. Work is what I need. Studio session today is scheduled. Don't cancel. Dieter, don't cancel. He hung up. At 9:30 a.m. Thomas called. The manager had told him. Dieter, I just heard. I'm so sorry about your father. Thank you. How are you doing? I'm fine. You're not fine. This just happened. I'm managing. Do you need anything? Want me to come over? No, I'm working today. Session is scheduled. Session, Dieter, your father just died. I'm aware. You should take time, process, grieve. I grieve by working. Session is on. Are you coming or not? Thomas heard the tone, cold. Controlled, final, I'm coming, but Dieter, see you at 2 p.m. He hung up. The funeral was Saturday, 3 days away. Dieter's mother called again. The service is at 11 a.m. St. Michael's Church, the same church where you were baptized, where your father and I were married. He'd want you there. I'll be there. Will you speak? I don't know yet. Please think about it. He was so proud of you, even if he didn't always show it. I know, Mom. Do you, because you're so much like him, keeping everything inside, not showing, not sharing. He loved you. I need you to know that. I know. Did he? He wasn't sure. His father had been distant, supportive but distant, present but unavailable, proud but unable to express it, like Dieter, exactly like Dieter. That realization hurt more than the death itself. Friday afternoon, Thomas called again. The funeral is tomorrow. Can I come to support you? Why? Because you're my partner, because you're going through something difficult, because people need support during grief. It's a family matter, I know, but I want to be there for you. You're not family, Thomas. The words were cold, clinical, true but cruel. I'm your professional partner. We've worked together for 4 years. We've spent more time together than with anyone else. Doesn't that count for something? In the studio, yes. At my father's funeral, no. This is personal, private, family only. I'm trying to support you. I don't need support. I need space. This isn't your concern. Your grief isn't my concern. My family isn't your concern. There's a difference. Thomas felt the wall, the same wall Dieter built around everything personal, the same boundary he maintained about everything outside work. Fine, I won't come, but Dieter, thank you. I'll see you Monday, back in the studio. You're going back to work Monday, the day after your father's funeral. Why wouldn't I? Because you might need time, might need to process. I process by working, you know that. This is different. This is your father, and working is how I handle it. Don't question my grief, Thomas. Everyone processes differently. I'm not questioning. I'm concerned. Don't be. I'm fine. I'll be fine. Work helps me. Always has. See you Monday. He hung up. Thomas sat with that, frustrated, concerned, confused. How do you support someone who won't let you in? How do you help someone who insists they don't need help? How do you honor someone's grief when they process it in complete isolation? Saturday morning, the funeral, Thomas woke up thinking about it. Dieter would be there, at the church, saying goodbye to his father, surrounded by family, alone in the crowd, processing in whatever way Dieter processed, which was probably not processing at all, just enduring, just surviving. Just pushing through. Thomas made a decision. He was going, not inside the church, not to the service, but to the church, to be present, to be available, in case Dieter changed his mind, in case Dieter needed someone, in case the wall cracked and support was required. He drove to St. Michael's Church, small church, old. Traditional, the funeral was starting, cars in the parking lot, people in dark clothes walking inside. Thomas parked in the back, far corner, stayed in his car, watching, waiting. He saw Dieter arrive, black suit, sunglasses despite the cloudy sky, walking alone. His mother was already inside, his brother too, but Dieter arrived alone, walked alone, entered alone. Thomas watched him disappear into the church, wanted to follow, wanted to sit in the back. Wanted to be there, but Dieter had said no, had been clear, had drawn the boundary. Thomas respected it, mostly. He stayed in the car, but he stayed, present if not visible, available if not intrusive. The service lasted an hour. Thomas waited, watched people exit. Dieter came out, same expression, same controlled face, same. Wall, his mother took his arm, said something. Dieter nodded, looked at nothing. Felt everything probably, showed nothing definitely. The crowd dispersed, family to the cemetery, others to their cars. Dieter stood alone for a moment, on the church steps, looking at the sky or looking at nothing. Thomas couldn't tell. Then Dieter walked to his car, alone, drove away, alone. Thomas sat, feeling useless, feeling like his presence, even unseen, had been pointless. But also feeling like he'd done the right thing, shown up, been available, respected boundaries while offering proximity. That was something, maybe. He drove home, thought about calling, decided against it. Dieter would reach out if he needed to, or wouldn't, more likely wouldn't. Sunday, Thomas expected silence, expected. Ace expected Dieter to take the day, to rest, to process, to be with family. At 2 p.m. his phone rang. Dieter, studio tomorrow, 10 a.m., new material to record. Dieter, you buried your father yesterday. I'm aware, studio at 10, are you available? Of course I'm available, but are you sure you're ready? I'm ready, I've been writing, I need to record. You've been writing, when? Last 3 days, wrote 5 songs. Need to get them down before I forget them. You wrote 5 songs since your father died. Yes, work is how I grieve, I told you that. Thomas didn't know what to say. 5 songs in 3 days, while planning a funeral, while burying a father, while processing loss. Was that healthy? Was that denial? Was that just Dieter? Okay, 10 a.m., I'll be there. Good, see you then. He hung up. Monday morning, studio. Thomas arrived early, 9:45, nervous, not about recording, about Dieter, about seeing him, about navigating this. Dieter arrived exactly at 10, punctual, professional, showed no sign of grief, showed no sign of anything. Ready. Yeah, ready, but Dieter, before we start, the songs are good, really good. I think the best work I've done. I want to get them right, that's great, but I wanted to say I'm sorry about your father, and I'm here, if you need to talk or not talk or anything. Dieter looked at him, brief eye contact, then away. I appreciate that, let's work. That was it, that was the acknowledgement, brief, minimal, final, they worked. Dieter played. The first song, beautiful, melancholic, haunting melody, deep emotion in the composition. Everything he couldn't say in words present in music. Thomas listened, heard the grief. It's beautiful, Thomas said. It's honest, Dieter replied. They recorded, Thomas sang, Dieter produced, barely speaking, only technical direction. Again from bridge, try softer, moving on, no personal conversation, no checking in, just work, just music. Just the process Dieter needed. Hours passed, 3 songs recorded. Dieter focused, intense, demanding but not harsh, just precise. Thomas watched him, saw something new. This wasn't coldness, this was survival, this wasn't denial, this was processing. The music was the grief, the work was the mourning, the studio was the church. By 6 p.m. they'd finished, 3 songs recorded, solid takes, beautiful material. Dieter listened to the playback, nodded. Good, this is good. It's more than good, it's profound. Dieter looked at him. You think so? I know so. This is different, this is deeper, this is grief. First time he'd said it, first time he'd acknowledged it. Yes, grief, in music. It's the only way I know how. Thomas understood then, fully. Dieter wasn't avoiding his father's death, he was honoring it, in the only language he was fluent in, through composition, through creation, through the work that had always been his refuge. I went to the church, Thomas said, quietly, not sure if he should admit it. I know, I saw your car. Thomas froze. You saw me. In the parking lot, back corner. I saw you when I arrived. Why didn't you say anything? because I understood. You came, you respected the boundary, you stayed outside, you were available without being intrusive. That meant something. I didn't want you to be alone. I wasn't alone, I was with family, but I also wasn't connected. Does that make sense? Yes. Seeing your car there, knowing you came. Knowing you understood enough to stay outside, but present enough to show up. That was the right amount. That was what I needed, even though I didn't know I needed it. I wasn't sure if it was stupid or supportive. It was both, and it was exactly right. They sat in that, in the understanding, in the acknowledgement, in the strange intimacy of grief witnessed but not shared. The songs, Thomas said, they're how you said goodbye. They're how I say everything I couldn't say, everything I didn't know how to say, to him, about us. They're beautiful, they're honest. That's all I know how to be in music. It's the only place I can be honest. Thomas understood something fundamental then, about Dieter, about their partnership, about the walls and the boundaries and the distance that always existed. It wasn't coldness, it was protection. Protection from feeling things he didn't know how to process except through music. The studio was where Dieter was vulnerable, where his walls came down, where everything he couldn't say in life got said in melody. Thank you, Dieter said, surprising Thomas. For what? For coming to the church, for being in the parking lot, for not pushing, for not demanding I grieve the way you would grieve, for understanding that this, he gestured at the studio, the keyboards, the recorded songs, this is how I mourn. Everyone processes differently. Yes, and you understood that, you respected it. That means more than you know. They packed up, said goodbye, normal ending to an abnormal day, but something had shifted, something had changed. Thomas saw Dieter differently now, not as cold or distant or emotionally unavailable, but as someone whose emotional life existed entirely in music, whose vulnerability lived in composition, whose honesty required instruments instead of words. The songs they recorded that day became part of their next album, released 6 months later. Critics called them more mature, more emotional, evolution in modern talking sound. They didn't know those songs were written in grief, in the 3 days between death and burial, in the space where Dieter processed his father's sudden absence. Fans loved them. The songs became hits, not the biggest, but meaningful, the kind of songs people returned to when they needed something deeper, something real. Dieter never told anyone the story, never mentioned his father's death in interviews, never connected those songs to that loss. That was private, that was his. But Thomas knew, and knowing changed how he worked with Dieter, changed how he understood the silences, the distance, the walls. They weren't rejection, they were protection, protection that came down in the studio, in the music, in the work that was Dieter's only safe space for vulnerability. Years later, 1998 reunion, they discussed boundaries, the songs from your father's death. Those were sacred. They were necessary. Do you still listen? Sometimes, when I need to remember. Do you regret writing them so quickly? No, that was when they were real, when they were raw. If I'd waited, they would have been polished, safe. They needed to be written in that moment or they wouldn't have been honest. You've never talked about them publicly. I never will. They're not for explanation, they are for listening. Let the music speak. The 2003 breakup was sad but not angry. They'd learned too much, understood too much. February 1987 taught them that partnership isn't just professional. It's understanding how your partner grieves, respecting that even when it's different. Dieter grieved through work, Thomas grieved through connection. Neither was wrong, both were valid, both were honored in that Monday session where they recorded 3 songs and barely spoke but understood everything. In 2010, Dieter's mother died, expected, peaceful, old age. Dieter called Thomas, first time in years. My mother passed, I thought you should know. I'm so sorry, when's the funeral? Thursday, I'll be there, and then I'll be in the studio Friday. Of course you will, you understand, I understand. Do you want me to come to the church, to the parking lot? Dieter laughed, actual laugh. No, but thank you for asking, for remembering, for understanding that I'll grieve how I grieve. Will you write songs? Already have, 2 so far, need to record them while they're fresh, while they're raw. Exactly. I'm here if you need to record, if you need a voice, if you need anything. I know, that means everything. They didn't record together. Dieter worked alone on those songs, but Thomas's offer stood. The understanding remained, the respect lasted. February 1987 taught Thomas how Dieter worked, how Dieter felt, how Dieter survived. It taught him that the studio wasn't just a workplace. It was a sanctuary, a therapy room, a church. The place where Dieter's walls came down, where his emotions lived, where his grief transformed into something beautiful. The songs from that Monday session remain some of Thomas's favorites, not for the music alone, for what they represented, for the understanding they created, for the moment when he stopped seeing Dieter as cold and started seeing him as protective, stopped seeing distance as rejection and started seeing it as survival, stopped judging how someone grieves and started respecting that everyone finds their own way. Dieter's father died February 1987. Dieter didn't cry, didn't talk, didn't process the way most people process. He worked, he wrote, he recorded, he channeled everything into music, and Thomas witnessed it, not at the funeral, not through conversation, but in the studio, through the songs. Through the work that was Dieter's only language for the things that hurt too much for words. That was February 1987, the month Thomas learned that grief looks different on everyone. That support means respecting boundaries. That being there doesn't always mean being seen. Sometimes it means being in a parking lot. Sometimes it means recording in silence. Sometimes it means understanding. That work isn't avoidance, it's processing, it's surviving. It's the only way some people know how to grieve, and that's not wrong, it's just different. Thomas learned that in the parking lot, in the studio, in the silence that said everything. February 1987, the month everything changed, not because they talked, but because they understood, without words, through music, through respect, through the partnership that went deeper than they'd realized. Dieter's father was gone, the grief was real, the processing was private, the music was honest, and Thomas was there, in the parking lot, in the studio, in the understanding. That was enough, that was everything.